Oh. All right. Woo! Oh, hello! So happy to see all of you again. And for our new friends, Science Explorers is a hands-on science program that's all about having as much fun learning as possible. Now, for our friends that have attended Science Explorers before, they know we offer our after-school clubs. And I'm here today to tell you that once again, we will be offering them this school year. Now, they're going to be a little bit different. Everything's a little bit different. But what you're going to be able to do is get the materials shipped to your home, and then you'll get to work together with your classmates and one of our world-class instructors from the comfort of your home. So if you want to learn more about that, be sure to head to our website, which I will insert right here. Because today, we are going to be talking about force and pressure and other types of ways that things like to move. So let's talk about that first word, force. Now, force is just a push or a pull. I know a lot of times in science, concepts can be a little, confusing. But a lot of times when you put those concepts in your own words, you'll understand them much, much better. So we know that force is a push or a pull, and we're going to talk more about force a little bit later. Now, we know that we can use, I can use my hands to push something over, or I can, pull this tablecloth off of there. But can you use air to push or pull something? Now, we know we can use air to, push my hair back. But you can also use air to pull things along. Now, you may have seen this on the side of the road when you see a bunch of leaves that are just, we're kind of getting to that time of year. It's beautiful. You can use air to pull things along. When you have a fast car and that wind from that fast car goes by, it pulls the leaves into the road. And that's because of something called the Bernoulli principle. Now, the Bernoulli principle is all about how fast moving air has very little pressure, whereas slow moving air, or air that's kind of still like the room I'm in, that has a lot more pressure. It's the same reason why when you're opening a trash bag, you don't to blow it up. Instead, what you do is you open it up and then you use the air around you to fill it up, because that air has more pressure to it. Another way to think about this is, you have fast-moving air and it can pull things along. So, obviously you can use air to push a ping pong ball. But you can also, you can also use a leaf blower to pull a ping pong ball. So, let me show you this. So, you have right here my leaf blower, and I have this little piece of plumbing pipe. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on here. Now, as the air is being blown out that way, there's low pressure right here, and that high pressure is creating kind of like a gap that needs to be filled in. So, the leaf blower, while it's like that, it's going to start sucking things in through here. It's the same way that your vacuum at home works. So when I turn it on and hold the ping pong ball right here, whoopsie daisy. When I turn this on and I'm holding the ping pong ball right here, what happens is the fast-moving air creates a opening with the low pressure right here and pulls things in. When you have your hand up against this, you can feel it pulling on it while it's on, and that's what sucked up the ping pong ball. But as science explorers, the way we like to have fun, bigger, better. So instead of just getting one ping pong ball at a time and just putting it right here, I built a little contraption that loads them into the barrel, I guess you could kind of say. But you have ping pong balls that are just going to be coming down through there. So when I plug it in and remove the safety pin right here, the ping pong balls will be fed into a low pressure front, where the high pressure front that the ping pong balls are coming through are going to suck them in. And I don't know, let's see what happens. It works. So, as you can see, the experiment was a success. We were able to use Bernoulli's principle that says that when you have fast-moving air, it's going to want to pull in other things along with it. Now, one way that you can use Bernoulli's principle at home to make something cool without having to go to the hardware store several times is all you'll need to do this is a straw and a cup of water. And what we're going to do is we're going to make something called an atomizer. An atomizer is what is used in a spray bottle. There we go. Oh, I got the light. But you can see the way that it sprays the water in a nice fine mist. And the way it does that is by having fast air move over the top of a tube that has water in it. Now, instead of having that fast-moving air fling ping pong balls at me, what it does is it atomizes or breaks it up into small little pieces, the water. It breaks the water up into tiny little particles. All right, and I need to use that water again. All right. Now, the way you do this is you have your straw, you cut it in half like that, and then you put the one straw in the water. Now, this might take a couple of tries. Let's see how well this shows up on camera, but let's see if it looks better over this side. I'm getting my camera all wet. But what you have happening here is when that fast-moving air is moving over the straw, air is going down into the straw and kind of shaking up the water and then pulling some of that water back up through the straw and out. But that is how you make an atomizer at home. Now, atomizers are used in spray bottles, they're used in carburetors. I don't think it's know what carburetors are anymore. Everything's fuel injected, am I right? Now, that is a fun little activity you can try at home. But for this next activity, I mentioned earlier that force, a push or a pull. Right now, I want to talk a little bit more about, how forces work and how things move. So we're going to cut to outside for this scene because it was a beautiful day. Oh, shit. Hello, friends. Give me a second with this guy. The wind wants it to blow down. There we go, that's how this guy works. It's like a wind sail. But today I have something very important to tell you. I need to tell you about the 3 states of matter.
Yay!
I mean the 3 laws of motion. Now the 3 laws of motion, they were That was Sir Isaac Newton's baby. Now, he wasn't just some old guy a long time ago. He's one of the most famous scientists of all time. And, oh, he was having a wild one constantly. He was discovering things left and right. And what he loved the most was motion. 3 laws of motion. He was very proud of them, and they kind of relate to everything around us. When I say kind of, I mean it literally does apply to everything around us. It's about how things move and the motion of them. There you go. You know, the way things move, the way things interact with each other, and the way that the world works. So there's 3 laws of motion, and the definitions are: the first law of motion is an object in motion will stay in motion unless acted upon by an outside force. And an object at rest will stay at rest unless acted upon by an outside force. So you got your second law of motion now, and that's force equals mass times acceleration. And what that means, we'll get to it. And you have our third law of motion. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So definitions in science and a lot of other studies can be intimidating sometimes. You know, they can be long and confusing. But what I like to do is put them into my own words and kind of apply them with what I have in front of me to help me get a better understanding of how it works. So let me see what I got in front of me. Let's see. All right, now that I got my favorite beach ball, we're gonna talk the 3 laws of motion, but we're gonna be using terms that we understand. So the first law of motion, let's go over that. An object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an outside force. An object at rest stays at rest unless acted upon by an outside force. So all that means is things will keep going until they're stopped. And things will say stopped until they get going. All right. The second law of motion, force equals mass times acceleration. Now, mass is how big and strong something is, and acceleration is how much something's speeding up. And force is about how powerful, how overall powerful something is. So to measure my force without any acceleration, I'm just going to use how big and strong I am and push. And that's a good measure of how powerful I am without acceleration. When I add acceleration to my force, that means I have to get a running start to push this guy. All right? Hey, how you doing? And you can see it goes much further. Now that brings us to our third and my favorite law of motion. For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. So when you throw something up, it comes down. So when I grab the beach ball and I throw it up, it comes back down. So that's the third law of motion. For reaction, there's an opposite and equal reaction. I broke my sunglasses. All right, friends, I hope you enjoyed the lesson today. You can try this at home with a smaller beach ball, probably. Woo! And then I said, oh, hello, you're back, wonderful. I hope you enjoyed that segment on the 3 laws of motion. Now, what's really important in these lessons is that even though a scientific concept may sound, kind of complicated or hard to wrap your head around, you can always understand science when you put it in your own terms. So we know how things move. We understand the motion. We also understand how the Bernoulli principle can have fast-moving air pull things back in. So a really fun way to think about that is with something like maybe an air cannon. Now, this right here is what we call an air cannon. An air cannon is one of these little toys. Some of you may have something like it at home. Has a little bungee cord inside here, so when you pull back on this, it gets pulled back in and then forces the air through. This is kind of like a big bucket, but it pushes the air through this opening right here. As you can see, there's some air pressure behind that. Now, what's even cooler is you can't see what the air looks like while it's moving because it's like air. But you can use something to make the air easier to see. Now, the best way, in my opinion, to visualize how air is moving is with fog. Stinky. Now, fog is a fluid. It moves wherever it's told to move, really. And what we can do is fill up our air cannon with some of the fog so you can see how it moves as it's being fired out of it. All right, so let me fill this up. Looks nice and full. And you can see as this settles that it makes cool little smoke rings. They're like donut shaped. And I need to clear this out because I can't see anything in here. You get fog donuts. Now, as this fog clears out and potentially sets off the smoke detector, the shape, our fog donut, that shape is called a Taurus. Not a Ford Taurus, that's a car. Taurus is the name of a donut shape. And as the air is moving, the air that's in the middle is the fastest. The air in the middle that's moving the fastest is pushing forward and then kind of pushing things out of the way. But much like our ping pong balls, when they're off to the side, they get sucked back in. Here's something I built to kind of visualize what I'm talking about. You have our little donut shape. Oh, a little more fog. And this is a Taurus. This is our Taurus shape. And the air that's right here in the middle, as that moves forward, that moves back, and that's our fog. So pretend this silver stuff is our fog. As fast air is moving through the center, the fog is getting pushed out of the way, but then coming back around and going through the center again. And that's how you get that Taurus shape, that fog donut, moving forward. Because you have that fast moving air in the middle, and then it keeps on getting the fog trapped inside of, the Bernoulli's principle, kind of pushing it out but then sucking it back in. Now, I want to show you how you can make your own air cannon at home. And all you'll need is a balloon and a plastic bottle. So you just need your balloon and your plastic bottle and an adult to cut the bottom off of your bottle. And what that's going to do is you will then have your bottle like this, and then you just need to take your balloon like that. And you can also use a funnel instead of a bottle, but I like the bottle more. But what you're going to do is, you see how I have the balloon folded like that? Fold it up like that, and then just cut the top off of it. There we go. You still want the widest part of the balloon to be below your cut. Because then you're going to take this and be patient with yourself with this. It's a little tricky, but you're going to want to stretch the balloon over, let's get this like that, over the bottom of this. And it might be nice to have someone hold this while you're doing it. Might make it work a little bit easier. Just like that. So you're going to get it onto your bottle like this. You can also use some tape to secure the balloon onto your bottle. And that'll help it, not come off. Because I know it can be a little tricky. I had a hard time with it. Alright. Yep, just using this tape to secure your balloon to the bottle. And then also, you can use tape. You don't even need to tie the end of the balloon, but you need to seal it up. And I'll just use tape for this as well. So you just take that and just fold it over like that. That'll make a nice seal. There you go. Not like the artist seal. But this right here is your air cannon. And let's see if I can fill this up with some of the fog. There we go. You can see the way that it moves. And, ooh, gentler seems to work better for the... There you go. You can actually really see that. Let me get some more fog in there. There we go. You can see the way that the air cannon creates these lovely little fog donuts, or as we know, as they're called, Taurus. Now, the way we like to have fun as science explorers is, you know, go big or go home. So you can make one like this. I have my normal one that ordered online, but today I wanted to make a super big one. So I got this right here, and as you can see, it's the same thing as my yellow one, the one I bought from the store. I have a little bungee cord in here, and that is connected to that. So when I pull back on that, I get a lot of air moving right at my face, and I can pull this back and hold it like that, and there you go. Did you feel that through the camera? I bet you did. And a little bit of dust in there, little plastic flakes I broke off. But let's see what happens when I fill this up with fog. Whoa! Very nice. Really fill it up. There we go. Oh yeah. Perfect! Pretty nice, right? So, that's what I made. I can't wait to have fun with it. Maybe I'll get my roommate with it later today. Who knows? But thank you so much for watching and being part of this. I hope that you all have such a stellar school year. Again, we have our online after-school clubs with all of the materials sent to your door. Be sure to sign up for that. If this is the type of fun you like to have, you can go to our website below. But nonetheless, thank you again for joining us. And as we say at Science Explorers, if it's not fun, we're not doing it. Woo! Bye-bye.